Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored, a historic gathering for a great cause set for the weekend. The 10,000 Black Men of Greater Houston rally will be happening on the steps of Houston City Hall. The event created to unite Black men, especially as we head closer to Election Day. Joining us to talk about it, President and CEO of Elite Change Incorporated, Dallas Jones, and Precinct 7 Constable-elect Smokey Phillips. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. We have been hearing through news media that has been an uphill battle for Kamala Harris for Black men. What do you think the problem is? What do you think some Black men, not all, but some Black men are attracted to in former President Trump, or those who just will not vote this time?
You know, Isaiah, I was here last week having this conversation, and the reality is, it's like we are comparing numbers to what it was 4 years ago in terms of Kamala and Joe Biden. But I think the thing that brought us together was the idea that Black men aren't engaged in the process. Like, we are not concerned about what's happening in our communities, in our country. We don't have issues that we care about for our families. This rally is really about, you know what, vote for who you're going to vote for. But here in Houston, Black men are here. We are united, and we're going to show up to show the country that we can come together and we are present. It was almost like this idea that, you know, we're disengaged from the process. But a number of us got together and said, you know what? We think that unity is a great thing. And it came from a conversation of Black men where we walked away from that conversation, Smokey, saying, more than the few of us that are here should see this, right? And so we want to gather Black men in a peaceful way and say, you know what, we care and we're supporting our families, our country, and we're a part of the process.
And Constable Phillips, do you see it as an uphill battle for the vice president when dealing with some Black men who are out there who've already said, there's no way I'm going to vote for Vice President Harris as president?
Well,
and there have been people who've said it.
But when I saw the numbers, I was astonished that they would not support a sister that's educated, that's smart, that is the second in charge of the country here. And the many drawbacks that I hear, that they're not supporting her. It just amazed me that they wouldn't. But when Dallas come about the march and say, hey, that's good, and I compared the march to the march of in August of 1963, when the bartender cars people got together and say, hey, let's have a march. And look at the march with Mr. Louis Farrakhan had a march that was draw people in. That we love our communities, and so I don't know what spell these guys are in that won't support a smart person like Kamala Harris, but I know I am. So,
has former President Trump hit some of the right accords, some of the right notes for these Black men who say they're supporting him? He's been on all what they call the bros shows. Like, he's scheduled to go on Joe Rogan in Austin, flying to Austin. And we've seen the vice president on more liberal shows that's not reaching men.
You know, Isaiah, I have to say this with your audience watching. While all of these things are true, right? I think for many of us, right, and we've got a long list of organizations and people, bipartisan, that are on this committee to pull this together. I think what's most interesting is that we are at the forefront of the conversation in a long time, that it is Black men that people are vying for. And so, you know, former President Trump is doing his rounds, and Vice President Harris is doing hers. But I don't want this to be framed in a way that this is a Kamala Harris rally, or it's a Republican or a Democratic thing. It's like, wow, the country is talking about Black men, and frankly, we planned this before Obama. We talked about this last week, before Barack Obama started going around and before the Black agenda was released. Just the idea that the world ought to see that we can unite, because there are common things, whether you're voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, that unite us, right? As black men that we care about, our families.
And really quick, tell us about this event and if people want to participate, what they need to do, really quick.
So Sunday, the 27th, at City Hall, 3 o'clock p.m., you can go to 10kblackmenhtgx.com, and it will be a peaceful gathering of black men that are simply rallying. Bring your families, bring your children, bring everybody. And simply let's talk about the issues that we face as a people, right? And then we encourage everybody to go out and vote, right? And when you do that, we believe you should make the right choice.
All right. Thank you, guys. Sunday, October 27th, Houston City Hall at 3 o'clock, and there's a website if you want to go. Thank you both for joining us here on The Factor.